Okay, thank you.
Come again.
So, and actually students stay on both sides of this line and you ask them questions. For example, those who have cats, you step forward and they make a step to the line and then go back. So when you play this game, students feel very free, very easy, because it's the first lesson. They don't need to talk, they don't need to touch anyone, and it gives them time to think and to feel relaxed. So, and as I have already mentioned, this game was adopted or transformed into online game by the woman who is the founder of Trendy English Conference and in general of Trendy English, and she is the founder of Trendy English Games. Her name is Elena, and Trendy English is a really big kind of organization, community, as she said at the conference, and there actually you can find a lot of interesting information about teaching, cooperation, and so on. So as for Trendy English Annual Conference, which I have visited, it was rather interesting, and I visited it because again, I like teaching, I like communication, and one day I was just stuck with ideas, and I found on the internet this organization, and I thought that it would be very interesting to take part in it, to see what teachers do. They share their ideas at this conference. And one of the ideas which, sorry, I forgot to mention that, in my opinion, this conference was devoted to somehow development, not development, devoted to, development of creativity in our students. Somehow nowadays our students don't know what to say during the lessons, how to express their ideas, and teachers who were the presenters at this conference, they spoke mostly about how to raise the skills of creativity and how to develop them. Also, they spoke about the teachers, of course, how to help teachers to be creative, not to give up in some situations, and how to relax even. So there were somehow three trends. The first one was teachers, for teachers, basic and advanced. Then second one was for business. This is for owners of schools and so on. And the third one was for your soul, somehow how to relax and so on. So, and now I would like to tell you what were the most interesting, in my opinion, presentations. And I've chosen those and use them in your practice. So this woman, who is the founder of Trendy English Game, spoke about their community. That Trendy English is a kind of community which has existed for a very long time. So this is the 11th, it was the 11th annual conference. So, and community is a group of people which are united by some interests. And she compared community with our groups, which we have in WhatsApp. So tell me, please, who have groups in WhatsApp with your students? So you can just write in chat, like put plus somehow. So
sorry, could you repeat the question, please?
Do you have groups with your students
my connection
application? Like, do you make groups with your students in WhatsApp? Chat groups? Nobody does. Okay, so then the idea was that for schools and for teachers, sometimes it's very useful to create the groups in WhatsApp. But when teachers create groups, there exist several principles. They are like 90 to 9 to 1. So when you create the group, you should expect that there will be 90% of people in your group of passive users. Actually, they will read the news, they will read the task, for example, and do nothing. They are just react. 9% of people will somehow participate, take part in this in activity you offer to do. And 1% will somehow create everything what is happening there. Somehow, usually this is you, and plus maybe 1 or 2 students. So, but why they are useful? They can help teachers to develop creativity in students, yeah. So how to do it? There was one presenter who offered to use communities or groups in WhatsApp for developing writing, creative writing skills. And there were 3 basic steps how to do it. So the first step is you need a formula. I will speak about it later. So for these formulas, you need to use comparisons. The second step is a kind of competition. You need to create competition between students to raise their creativity in writing especially. And of course, daily practice. So now I would like to tell you about it in details, and your participation is very useful here. So the first formula, the first step is the formula. So the first formula which can be offered to your students is like adjective plus like plus noun plus a prepositional phrase. For example, I was bored like an art student at a physics lecture. So what you can give, you offer your students their formula. For example, she was tired, or she was clever, she was crazy, she was romantic, and they try to finish these sentences. Or it was tempting, it was cold, or it was pink, it was wild, whatever, yeah? And they try to finish these sentences. So you might use it in the classroom, for example, or you might use it in your group, which you created with your students. And they nowadays like using mobile phones and internet, and they mostly communicate in groups. So that's why not to use this to raise their creativity. So now you try to make one sentence using the formula, like I was tired like, or it was tempting like. So, and okay, you have probably 1 minute to make it. I was tired like. And you can actually write them in the chat, or you can say like, the first thing which comes to mind, I was tired like plus noun plus a prepositional phrase. So who's ready? Just you are teachers, you can just do it on the spot without even thinking 1 minute. So I was tired like Natalia. Can you say what you have created?
Natalia Челнокова.
Yeah.
I was tired like at gym, at being at a gym.
You need I was tired plus noun plus a prepositional phrase. For example, I was tired like a horse.
I was tired like yes, I was tired like a visitor of a gym class.
Okay.
Gym club.
So,
I was tired like like a horse after competition.
Okay, for example, yeah, very good. Anyone else? Svetlana? Your sound is off.
I was tired like a babysitter after 900 children. After
Okay.
working with 900 children.
Okay, good.
I was tired like a novice runner after running a marathon.
Okay, thank you. So you see, again, it depends on the level of your students, but in any case, you might give them very simple structures, very simple words, I mean, and you can write it in the group, and they can take part in writing like their sentences. So that was formula number 1, very easy actually. So as for formula number 2, it's a little bit more complicated, but still. So this is abstract noun plus concrete noun plus explanation. So here there is the example of a very famous person, but still, for example, life is like riding a bicycle. To keep your balance, you must keep moving. So what you can do, you give them abstract nouns, for example, love, hate, friendship, support. They can be, I don't know, simple ones. And concrete nouns like marshmallow, pizza, disease, old shoe, blunt pencil, whatever. Also, they might be connected with your topic, for example. And you give them again time to make their own comparison, so-called. But you are the first to give the example, to introduce the example. So love is like, or hate is like a blunt pencil or something. So now you are supposed to make the comparison. So love is like, hate is like, using explanations, of course. So who can tell us something about love? Because soon is St. Valentine's Day.
I can try.
Okay.
I think love is like a marshmallow. It keeps you working on your body and your feelings, but it's still very sweet.
Cool. So advanced level group of students. Okay, very nice. Anyone else?
Sorry, Elena, is it formula with like always, abstract noun plus like plus concrete noun?
Oh, yeah, it's the easiest one, the simplest one, which they can use to develop their writing skills. Actually, it was based on comparison technique. Of course, you can develop some other formulas and give them your own ideas. So that's why it's no problem if you develop your own things, formulas, I mean. So somebody else about love? Love is in the air, coming soon, 14th of February.
Maybe friendship.
Okay, friendship.
Friendship is like pizza.
Okay.
to share your emotions with your friends, you share these pieces of nice pizza.
Cool. Okay. Mm-hmm. And
I also have
mhm.
about friendship and pizza, but another one. Friendship is a pizza. You are all different, but in a circle, it looks better.
Wow. Nice. Okay. Okay. Good.
But the whole
So,
one makes you united. Yes.
Okay. Hate. Maybe no hate because we started speaking about love and friendship. So, okay. So as you see, you can use these formulas to develop your students' writing skills. But again, you should start with yourself. Give them the example, what to do, how to do, which order, and you might create your own formulas for different level of students. So the second step was also, which might be very helpful to raise the creativity and in your students. Just you can compete with a real writer. So what you do, you find any saying, any phrase from the book. Yeah, like here is given, there was a flash of lightning outside the window and it began to rain, harder, making blah, 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 yeah. So you give your students this phrase and they try to finish it. So you give them the time. If you do it at the lesson, you give them some time to do it. If you do it in the group, again, you give them some time to do this in the group. You just drop this saying in the group and give them time to answer. For example, you have a day to answer, to write the ending to this phrase. And whenever they have time, they try to finish it. Your next step will be you give them their answers, yeah, the list of their answers, and put there the original one. They read and try to find what is the original one. What was the writer's ending? Then, if they didn't guess, you read the original version. And what can happen very often, students, when they do this writing for some time, they can invent even better endings than the writer has actually, when the writer did. So, and this is the original. Then you give them the original, yeah? And they are very happy, usually. Your students will be very happy that they managed to write better ending, for example, of the sentence than the writer did. And you somehow raise their self-esteem and you develop this way the creative writing again. As for me, for example, I hate writing. It's the worst thing which can exist in the world. I can listen, I can talk, I can do, but no writing. So that's why even for me, it would be the best way how to start writing. So if you want your students to start writing, do it in a creative way. Because if you just say, do it, write this, they will not do it. I wouldn't, for example. So that's why just use this creative approach if you wish, yeah. So, and the third step, which might be very useful in developing the skills, practice daily. Of course, if you do it, for example, once in a blue moon, yeah, like we today used this expression in the speaking club, yeah, there will be no use in it. Yeah, if you do sport, try to do it regularly. The same is with writing. So just write one comparison every day. For example, you wake up in the morning, even you got up in the morning. So, and you are in the kitchen drinking coffee, for example, you look at the windowsill and some comparison came to your mind. Just write this comparison and drop it in your students group, chat group, and give them obligatory, give them their time when they should finish writing, kind of deadline. So according to the percentage which I have given you in the beginning, 90% of group, they do not participate. Yeah, they just read. But when you drop the line every day, they will start doing this in any case. At least they will check, and if they see that somebody answers, they will start answering too. So that's why, for example, give them the deadline till the evening, and you drop the line in the morning, and they will start doing something. They will write and read the other students' answers, and maybe they will even try to improve their writing skills. So that's why today I decided to tell you about this presentation, because I even find it useful for myself, for the person who hates writing. So that's why. But I like helping children to develop, so that's why it will be really, really useful. So the next approach, so-called, which was the next tendency, which was at that conference, is a kind of use of psychological skills at the lessons. The previous Friday, we listened to Ekaterina Redkina's presentation. She also was at that conference. And so that's why I'm not going to tell you what she was speaking about, because you have already heard about it. It was rather interesting. So there was a presenter who offered to use psychological games and activities, and it was not only one presentation. There were probably 4 or 5 people, but this one I find the most interesting, the use of psychological games at the lesson. So you might start, and I suppose you do this, you can start every lesson with the structure "if I were." Yeah, for example, you have finished topic food, and you can start the lesson like, if I were a dessert, I would be. So guys, if you were desserts, what desserts would you be? So welcome. What are your ideas? Let's start with the beginner level.
I would
Like,
be some fruit with maybe nuts, something like this.
Fruit or nut, yeah?
Yeah.
And for high level, you can ask them to explain why. So why would you?
Because I like healthy food, because fruit is sweet and at the same time it's healthy, rich in vitamins, and nuts like lots of calories and can be nutritious.
Okay. Any other ideas if I were a dessert?
I'd be a cheesecake because it's tender.
Okay, very nice. So anyone else? Desserts? Okay. So
if I were a dessert, I'd be chocolate.
Because?
It's because chocolate is full of passion and love.
Nice. Okay, very good. So, or imagine that you have finished topic entertainment and maybe something else. So if I were music, I would be people who especially have musical education. So guys, if I were music, what music would you be?
I'd be dubstep
Okay, because
it's energetic.
nice. Cool. Okay.
If I were music, I'd be jazz, because it's full of mysterious.
Nice.
Mystery.
Mystery. Yeah.
If I were music, I'd be Sakaria by Gendel, because this is one of my favorite ones. I like to play on the piano.
Very good. Okay. Any other ideas? Okay. So, and actually just now one idea came to my mind. There is a game in camp, it was called associations, but I think there are different interpretations of this game, but you should be very careful with playing with kids this game. They should be somehow at least at the age of 14 or 15 and not very low level of English. So you sit in the circle and one person is out of the room. You choose the person to describe in the group, and then you invite that person back. That person can ask only 3 questions, like what music is this person associated with? And every child, including that person who is what's English? Chosen, who is chosen, answer the question. So, and the person can ask only 3 questions. And after this, the person should guess, the child should guess, who is it? Who the group have chosen. Actually, here there is a very big disadvantage. If the group is not friendly, so if team building somehow failed, they might offend each other. So that's why when you choose this game, be very careful. Your group should, maybe you can do it at the end of the year, for example, or at the end of, I don't know, term, when children know each other very well. So, but very interesting. If you have groups of grown-up people, you can do it. Very interesting. So, okay. So that was the first idea, how you might start your lesson, how you can learn if the students have learned their topic. So the second one, 1 second, I'm sorry. So now you're supposed to look at the picture and write in the chat the first animal you see. So look and write the first one, which you see. So horse, bird, horse, dolphins. So bird, lizard, snowbird, okay, horse. So anything else? Parrot. Okay, bird. So good, good, nice. So what you might do with this? This idea you can use when you discuss topic animals. What activities you can do also? First, you ask children to look at the picture and to write the animals they can see. The first one is very important. Then you can count these animals. Yes. Then you can discuss which animals in general they see. Of course, they take notes what animals they see. I have already used this activity with my group Prepare For. There is unit 12, which is devoted to animals. Why? Because then judging by the animals children saw, you can speak about their personality. And in Prepare For, the first unit is devoted to personality. So it was really funny. It was rather interesting. So now look, those people who saw the horse, are you independent and free-spirited people? Yes, no? Actually, a lot of people saw horses. So then some people saw birds. So the bird, actually, if you see the bird, you tend to have more outgoing and expressive personality. Actually, when you start giving them the answers, they are really surprised, because here there are a lot of animals which you can find and they haven't found. The dolphin, somebody saw the dolphin. So creative, expressive thinking person. Then, has anyone seen the duckling here? I haven't actually. So, but if you saw, you are detailed, quiet, and more focused person. Then, bear. Actually, there was a bear. For me, it was a surprise to see the bear here. So, and the puppy. If you saw, nobody saw, if I'm not mistaken, the puppy and so on. Okay, and one more, the crab. Has anyone seen the crab? No
Nice. I have.
Yes, I noticed. Yeah.
It was the first animal you saw?
No, second, I think.
Second, okay.
Second.
But you know, actually, that's great that I thought that it's a kind of bird. I really couldn't understand that it's a crab. So, yeah.
Elena, could you please tell me, was there an explanation how to make such pictures? There is like a formula, or just they are layered one?
They just
another?
exist. There are a lot of different pictures and a lot of psychological tests where they have already had these pictures. Yeah. So it wasn't done by me. Yeah. Okay. So actually, as I have just mentioned, there are different psychological tests like this. They might include animals, they might include other things. You just need to use internet. But again, with psychological tests, on the other hand, you should be very careful. Again, depends on the group, on the people you have in the group. Because sometimes different situations can happen. Just children can be offended, especially if they are very young. So, and now one more psychological, very good thing for students. The way how to develop their speaking skills. This is telling the stories. So now I'm going to tell you the story. The story is called The Bridge. So a woman lived with her husband in a town beside a river. One day, her husband went away for 3 months. While her husband was away, the woman took a lover who lived just across the bridge on the other side of the river. One day, while the woman was with her lover, the woman heard that her husband was coming home. So she left her lover and tried to cross the bridge. But now there was a soldier on the bridge. The soldier said, "Stop, I have orders that no one must cross the bridge. If you try to cross the bridge, I will shoot you." Near the bridge was a boat. The woman told the boatman she needed to cross the river. But the boatman said that he would take her across the river if she gives him $100. The woman didn't have $100. So she asked her lover to give her money, but he refused. The woman tried to cross the bridge. Tried to cross the bridge. The soldier shot her. So the question is, who is guilty? You can use this actually story, of course, not with somehow teenagers, yeah, or you might remove lover from this story, and it will help you to develop their speaking skills and actually, yeah, and somehow teach students some kind of morals and so on. So what you're going to do right now? Now you are going to be split in breakout rooms, and your task is to discuss and tell me finally who is guilty. So you're going to have around 10 minutes. There will be many of you in the group, in the breakout rooms to discuss. You're welcome. So just to remind, you might take the picture of the story if you wish. So, but one more time, there was a woman with her husband. They lived on the one side of the river. One day, husband left for on some business, and a woman took the lover. One day she heard that her husband was coming back, and she tried to cross the bridge. That time on the bridge there was a soldier who didn't let her go. So she asked the boatman for help. He asked to pay $100. Lover refused to give her money. So she was shot. Who is guilty? So you have 10 minutes to discuss who is guilty. So, welcome.
So hi everyone.
Hello.
Hello.
So, girls, I'm sorry, I will be without camera.
Yeah,
I
me
need to record this, I guess.
Yeah,
no?
this place. Do you see this picture?
Uh-huh. Yeah, great, Natasha, thank you.
You're
Do
welcome.
I need to record this or just stop it here?
I don't know.
As you wish, why not?
Okay, I will record it. I guess the lover is guilty. They're always he wanted to get rid. He was tired of a second child. That's why he asked the soldier to go there and hit her.
Okay.
So, ladies,
don't take it serious. It's just my thought. I think that the husband is guilty because if he if he hadn't left, she wouldn't have been killed. Yeah, I agree with Uliana, but actually I think that such situations with lovers, they appear only if there is some kind of a problem in a relationship already. So probably they are both. The woman, by the way, it's not called wife, it's called woman in the story. You see, the woman and the husband, they are both, let's say, so they share the guilt.
and by the way,
she killed herself. Maybe she was just tired of everything and she just needed some reason.
You could just divorce before your husband left.
look, ladies, and what if this woman was a husband's lover? Yeah, because we don't know if she is wife or not. She was, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or probably the boatman was the husband's lover.
Or wait, no, the soldier.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you know.
I think all men are guilty because they killed one woman in this story. Like mafia game, you know? This is like mafia, you know?
Yeah.
Like the woman was a citizen and they are all mafia. They just, okay, we know.
No, the woman was like a девушка легкого поведения.
No, I think she's a victim. I just, okay, it's some kind of a silly idea, but because it's difficult to solve such puzzles for me, actually. I prefer to have fun from them, you know.
Yeah. And ladies, am I right that there is no like right answer, and this is just to avoid
Yes, of
provoke
course.
our discussion?
I'm aware of this, of course, and it's more about teens. Yes, they maybe don't have such experience like we. They can predict something unreal, maybe. But we are trying to use some psychological problems, divorce. Oh my God, some relationship they go through the rough path, and
Why did she get the
they're going to
lover?
split up.
What led her to this decision to have a lover?
Yeah.
Maybe some problems from her childhood. Maybe her
With
Right.
balance.
Yeah. And look, can you imagine? It was the situation when she was out of light and water. She decided to go to her lover. But unfortunately, so I think she would swim. She would
Dive.
cross the river by swimming. Why not? Why?
She would be killed, I guess, no?
No.
Under the bridge.
Yeah. Kind
Like
of
a Spider-Man.
be trickier. Why she was so silly just to go straight towards her death?
She was
I
in
see
the
the woman with very strange childhood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Probably she was in the codependent, or how they call it, the relationships. Yeah. She tried to escape it.
Yeah, right. And
Maybe her husband had quite a lot of lovers too, so she decided to.
Yeah.
try also, yeah.
Why
Okay.
is she called woman? Why not wife?
Yes.
Yeah,
so this
that's
is
the
a good
question
question.
from the beginning.
Yeah, I guess there is a trick.
Yeah, there's a trick.
I guess there is no, but still it's quite interesting. Probably because this woman doesn't really belong to any of these men.
She belongs to the soldier.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or to the boatman.
Yeah, and the husband was just sort of
Somebody's husband, not
Cover.
somebody's husband.
Lover's husband. Well, in our modern world, could be. Why not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's
So
interesting.
I think it's unfair to tell students the whole story. I think it would be great to stop when the woman went into the bridge, or yes, climbed the bridge, and what happened next. So I think it would be like more interesting to discuss what happened. Maybe she deceived soldier. Maybe she, I don't know. She
Maybe
made
they
him.
fall in love with
She
each
made
other.
him. Yes, she made him cry, or she maybe swap his gun to something yummy. I don't know. But I don't really like the ending.
They all
I'm
have
just
a really happy Swiss have a family on the boat.
yes,
Soldier,
and they
the lover, the husband,
right.
and the woman.
Right. It's like kind of the third part of the story, or the third side. Like I'm too sensitive to to see how women was killed.
Yeah, well, as for children, of course, but look, it depends on teenagers.
Right.
Yesterday we were watching with one of my groups the TED talk about given by HR director, and she divided candidates into groups, like scrappers, those who have lots of setbacks in their life, those who just maybe they do not come from rich families, and silver spoons. So the ones who have got a flawless education in higher establishments, who have got lots of opportunities. And she was trying to promote the idea that scrappers deserve the attention of HR directors because they are more experienced in dealing with different setbacks that might appear in their life. And you haven't heard my teenagers, they like, how could she say it? Like, everyone deserves attention. We are all equal. Why does she make her first impression on the fact that they are silver spoons? And they were very, very triggered by her speech. And that's why, like, I think, okay, my dear, you are so conscious.
Yeah. I think in this case, students might create, I don't know, a special gun for this woman, or reincarnation or something, or maybe she can teleportate, or how do you say teleport, make a teleport and escape this soldier. Yes, I think something should be changed here. Like, she wasn't killed, she just something. And so the soldier was guilty. He's the only one in the story wearing this gun, like carrying this gun.
Guilty,
you know?
yes, because
yeah,
he
I think.
However, we don't know what was the role of the soldier there on the bridge. Why he was standing there? Maybe
and by the way, we don't know that
he
he killed. Even if he has the gun, it doesn't mean that he killed.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
that's
maybe
right.
these houses were in different countries, so the woman illegally passed them.
Yeah.
So welcome back. Has anyone killed their husband in their discussion or the lover? Okay. No, everybody survived. Okay.
Yes.
So then, just a few ideas. Share your ideas. Who is guilty? I'm sorry.
I believe it is the local government. They built the bridge to unite two parts of this town, or maybe two villages, yes, two towns. So,
And maybe two countries.
or maybe two countries, yes. So
yeah, maybe.
We can blame them because if there is no bridge, the woman can find a lover somewhere nearby.
Oh, yeah, by the way. So the government is guilty. Who else?
I think husband.
Because
he left her, and it was the start of this story. For 3 months, he didn't say where he was going, so he left her. It was the reason of all the story, I think.
Okay.
I think wife, because she was cheating on her husband.
Okay. So,
Or maybe the government again, because in the first place, the soldier wasn't on the bridge and the woman could cross it easily.
Yeah, okay. So you see, there are a lot of different opinions on this topic, and you can use it, for example, during the lessons with grown-up people. Yeah, of course, because there is a lover here. Actually, also, you can use it as a topic for discussion for your speaking clubs, if you have any. Yeah, and more stories you can find in the book, which was also presented at the presentation, which is called Knowing Me, Knowing You. So there are several stories, and the author offers the solution somehow and the ways how to work with them. So actually, I have this book downloaded, so I can drop it in shared documents, and you can find it there. So, and it can be really useful for developing speaking skills with students. So one more very interesting to my mind.
Sorry, can I ask a question?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have answers or some characteristic why we choose?
Yeah, actually, there are characteristics in this book, but there is no one correct opinion, because it's the fact of somehow moral education and so on.
It's interesting.
So people decide. Yeah, but there was, I looked through this book, there was the characteristic, like if people choose wife or if people choose husband, what it means, for example.
So you don't remember, right?
No, I don't remember, but I will drop you this book in the shared documents, and you might find, and if you use it for the lesson, you can organize the lesson that way, that if students like ask you these questions, what to answer, something like this. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Can I ask a question? Are these stories for not teenagers, but for younger students, for like primary school students?
No, stories, no, because primary school, I don't think they will be able to speak like on such level as you discussed.
First of all, I believe they won't understand.
Yeah, because each story has some moral, and you might start speaking with children on these topics, like maybe when they are 14, 13, depends on the topic, of course. There are different stories.
Yeah, because when it comes to abstract things, that's about teenagers. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Young learners can't talk about abstract things.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So one more presentation, which I really appreciated and liked, because somehow I like humor. And there was a woman, the presenter, who offered how to use memes to teach grammar. And here actually Russian language somehow is okay, because people need to build somehow a picture in their mind and remember. But she started, actually, let's start with the understanding what is meme. Yeah, because usually, what do you think is the meme? You actually can see the answers, but still. What is it?
Picture. It's a picture from social network that students adore.
Yeah, so picture, and the first idea which comes to our mind, this is a picture. Mm-hmm. So you can read two definitions of two meanings actually. What is it? Yeah, I'm using interesting item or genre of items that is spread widely online, or an idea, behavior, style, or usage that spreads from person to person within culture. So that is, in both meanings, this is a powerful tool which we can use to speak, to present and grammar, and to make our students remember. Actually, here, just in brief, when we see these pictures, we can easily associate them with I'm laughing out loud, for example, yeah, or I'm sneezing. And you can use such pictures to speak, to present the present continuous form, yeah. And students will have a kind of associations in their mind. So, and whenever they remember form, present continuous, picture will come to their mind, or opposite. When they see the picture, they will remember the structure. So, as I said, Russian is okay because we create somehow memes in our own culture, in our own language. So now I will show you examples just to see how it can work. So there are 3 examples in Russian. Yeah. Actually, the first one, есть только миг между прошлым и будущим. Именно он называется present continuous. Yeah, for example. Some people will remember it. Yeah, and then they will remember the meaning of this tense. Yeah. The best, which I really like, is однажды в студеную зимнюю пору я из дома вышел и понял I shouldn't have. Yeah. So, and that's how you can practice actually. Yeah. I shouldn't have, and use the examples. Yeah. Or лучшим примером present perfect continuous является ремонт. I suppose everyone has had this event in their life, so that's why you can use these memes to illustrate the examples. Actually, if they are in Russian, they will not ruin students' ability to use language, and the important thing is that to teach them how to use it in the correct way. This woman, for example, tell me please what structure is implied here. С утра хотела свернуть горы, в обед решила, пусть стоят. What structure? Any ideas?
I used to.
Хотела свернуть горы.
Past perfect.
Okay, any other ideas? Собиралась свернуть горы.
I was going to.
Going to, yes. The structure going to. So, and one more. What is it? Как показали последние события, предпрошедшие были, предпоследние были лучше. What is it? Past perfect. Yes, this is past perfect. So, what I wanted to, I really appreciated these examples. I really like them. And what is important here? Of course, you are, on the one hand, responsible for looking for such memes on the internet, for example, and present them to your students. On the other hand, you can find, you can create your own. Also, you can motivate students to create their own memes, which will be useful for them to understand different structures, different forms in grammar, and so on. They can share, of course, but what is important here is that one example might work for one group of students. The same example might not work for another group of students, because people are different. And what was okay for one group, like решила сделать ремонт и поняла I shouldn't have. For another group, it will be not understandable. So they will need some other memes for understanding, and it's okay. So that's why if they don't suit every group, don't worry. Try to maybe together with students find the answer, the solution, and to create your own memes. So, and of course, at the conference, there were a lot of presentations connected with teaching. The most interesting I presented, but they were also connected with translation. But again, we have already discussed it at one of the academies, if I'm not mistaken. There were a lot of examples of CLIL, but again, we have already discussed it at the Welcome Academy, and that's great. So, but in any case, you might find the videos to every presentation on Get Course. platform Get Course. And there was one more presentation which I liked, but it is connected with teachers. Just identify your next CPD step, it is called. And the concept was called roll the dice. As for this one, I would say that we use it, and Welcome Studio somehow uses this. But if you still have a lot of time and you are really devoted teacher, and you think how to make your lessons better, how to develop and so on, you might use the creative way how to do it. So why it is called roll the dice? Everybody knows what is it, yeah? You have the dice. In the beginning, actually here it is offered to do very somehow once a month, for example, but you plan in the beginning of the year. So what you do, you roll the dice and have numbers. So if you have number one, you need to record your lesson. This is what we do actually, yeah? So, but we record the lesson, yeah, and give it for observation. But nobody likes to, I'm not speaking about everybody, but as for me, for example, I record the lesson, I don't watch it. I just give it for observation, because usually people do not like to watch themselves at the recording. So that's why when you record the lesson, watch it, yeah, and choose for yourself some things which you might pay attention to, like how you introduce tasks and activities, or how you generate students' interest, or how you give learners feedback, for example. And pay attention to this, not to the whole lesson, if you watch it yourself, yeah. And then obligatory, find something you do really well. So, and then, hooray, I'm the best one in this thing. I'm the best one to switch on the recording, for example, and so on. So that's why, yeah, something like this. But actually we do it. But if you want to record 2 lessons, why not? One for you and one for observation. So then, if you have number 2 on your dice, you plan to ask students for feedback. You can create a kind of scheme or table and feeling like what we did at the lesson, for example, talking about weekend, listening to people talking about their weekend, get feel on questions, some exercises, yeah? And then you write for students, was it useful, was it enjoyable, and their comments. They write if it was useful, put 1, number 1, for example, or 2 point, give you 1 point, 2 points, 3 points for the lessons. I mean, for these aspects. So if, why we do it, yeah? So if they, first of all, we can check, we can understand what students think about our lessons. And it's okay if you give it to students, don't be afraid of their comments, because this is how you see what you need to improve in your lessons and how they see you. So also it can somehow show you the problems which you need to work on. And also their marks somehow develop students' autonomy. Yeah, they are free to choose and give their opinion and their feedback. And actually, I did it. It was really interesting to read. So, and of course, there were some students who wrote, for example, that I'm talking too fast. Well, this is the problem. Yeah, and actually I'm working on it, but actually I really understand that I usually talk very fast, very quickly. So, okay, so then track your, if you have number 3, you are supposed to track your classroom language. So you have a month, for example, to pay attention to some moments in your classroom teaching process, like if your students use correctly the words which you have learned, like for example, here was the word conspiracy, if they pronounce it correctly, yes, or if they use the structures, grammar structures, which you have just learned, or if they, for example, use correctly the verbs with prepositions. And you just pay attention during the topic to their use of these structures, and it can somehow help you to develop your listening skills, somehow to be a sensitive listener and to track what your students learned and what they need to work. And you also might understand what help you can give your students, actually. And if they do everything correctly, you again very happy, and you understand that your students make progress in their studies. So if you have number 4, you need to carry out a classroom research. What it means. So you find some problem. For example, how can I help my students remember the new words? You see that this is a problem, yeah? And you carry out research. But as any scientists, when they carry out researches, they need a plan, yeah? So that's why you need to develop for yourself how you're going to do it, to put some key, to make some key points, like, yeah, you develop the plan, you understand how much time you need for this, what resources you are planning to use. You choose how you're going to evaluate yourself, because you do it for yourself, first of all. And coming back to the first point, you observe what you are doing, you record your lessons, for example, and you see if you could do what you were supposed to, or you couldn't. If you somehow failed, you change the plan and do it again. Actually, I suppose we do it, but we just don't pay too much attention to it, yeah, because very often we have a lot of students and a lot of groups, so that's why it might be, it can cause some troubles in the beginning, like with time, with lack of time, but then if you continue doing this, everything will be actually okay. So if you have number 5, and actually we have discussed it again at one of the academies, if I'm not mistaken, you need to try doing something differently. This is about, for example, when I have been working for many years, as I mentioned in the beginning, and very often I become bored with the lessons I'm conducting somehow, and not to be bored, I try to do something differently. So what you can do, you can, for example, teach unit from the textbook, but in the reverse order, yeah. But not every month, of course. Then you will get bored with this process. Or instead of using PPP, I suppose you know what is it, yeah? You flip the grammar presentation, for example. You can make students teachers, yeah, but it's very debatable thing. You should choose actually the correct students to make them teachers. But again, and if I'm not mistaken, we have already discussed this. And I practiced this, it helps, really, it works. But I didn't drop I didn't roll the dice. So here actually there is a creative attitude, like roll the dice. Oh, number 5, I will change something in my lessons. So, oh, number 1, record myself. Oh my God. So then the next and the last one is clean your coffee stains. Coffee stains, these are kind of difficulties which you might have. So the presenter gave the example with using Google Classroom for checking materials, but you find out actually what problems you have. Like I spend too much time checking home tasks of my students, or I spend too much time drinking coffee. And this is about me, for example. Yeah, and I need to improve something. And I think what I can do about it. Yeah, how can I change? Or maybe I can change the time, or where can I find time to check my students' home task, for example, or how can I do it in a different way in order to spend less time? Or I can, when and how I can do it, for example, I can stop bringing my students' home task for checking home. Because some teachers actually do it. They take the copybooks and bring them home because they think at home they will have more time to do it. Yeah, but for teachers, actually, for personal, how to say, when you bring your work home, it can be it might cause some problems in future, for example. So that's why I try to find time during the workday, your working hours, and do everything within working hours. So this is how to clean your coffee stains. So as for rolling the dice, of course, it's up to you, because it's the evaluation of teacher. And if you want to would like to develop an, I have some troubles with Zoom, and actually that is it. So conference in general is really worth visiting, and if in future you have the opportunity to visit it, just don't think, go. Because first of all, it's the experience, sharing the ideas. Of course, not all ideas which are offered should be taken, because they are debatable and it's up to you to choose or not to choose. But there are really some valuable things there. So if you have some questions, you can watch actually these videos, these recordings. There were more of them, much more than I presented today. Again, as I said, I've chosen just the practical ones because for me, this conference was for practice. I wanted to find some practical things to use at my lessons, at working with students, during the process of working with students. Of course, there were a lot of connected with exams. Lessons presentations connected with exams, with changing exams, because now we don't have the opportunity to pass exams abroad, for example. And there was the sole trend, I would say, where they spoke about art therapy, how to make selfies, how to make presentations about yourselves, but actually I haven't visited them. But you can watch them on Get Course in the section Trendy English Conference 11. So I hope it was useful for you, and you will watch and take some advice for your students, for your groups. And I also would recommend you to watch their presentation, especially about CLIL, because the presenter gives a lot of practical a lot of books where to find practical material to use at the lesson. But again, they are connected with psychology. So that's why you can find it there. And as for storybook, psychological, I will put it, I will download it, and you will have it on shared documents. So if you have any questions to me, you're welcome to ask. If you don't have any questions, I would really like to hear your opinion about just kind of feedback. Is it useful for you? Are you going to use it? Some hints, especially rolling the dice. Natalia.
Yes, thank you for this session. There are a lot of nice ideas I'm going to implement into my lessons, and I would like to add that, of course, we are all aware of this Trendy English Games event, because Studio Welcome, yes, is an executive producers of this event, and Anya and Dima are like the main people also, yes, in this business part, and our colleagues like Karina, they also participate in this teachers part session. Once I also participated there, but then I just was lack of time. I presented some very ideas for summer camp for very young learners, right? Yeah. And as for playing with the die, I would like to share some ideas for you that I found really creative. I think I covered all of the things that you mentioned in your last slides, right?
That's like, great.
What should you choose to make your lessons more creative and interesting? I found some great ideas and sources that I try to use almost every lesson. And with my connected, very united and friendly groups, we like playing some interesting games during the lesson, so to make them speak English and to follow the rules of the classroom. And I borrowed some ideas from the channel on YouTube. They call themselves Guys with Games, ESL. And we really like two games that called Volcano game and Ninja game. So we really like to play with the big die during the lesson, and students like this competition. Two teams are playing and they collecting points during the lesson. So if you're really interested in this game, I adopted it for my classroom to make these games faster and like more attractive, yes, for my group. But you can really find a lot of ideas if I can share this with you on this really channel, Guys with Games. There are tons of ideas how to play with your students.
Yeah,
and so you can find here Ninja game and Volcano game. The explanation maybe is long and the example a little bit complicated, but maybe try some times. You will change something, adopt to your students, and will have fun.
Yeah, okay, but very nice. Okay, so
remember this, guys.
Elena, thank you for the session. It was all information was new for me, and I will try to implement some of your advice in my lessons. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Actually, there was the question here about can we find all this information presentation that Get course site. Actually, Karina downloaded the videos, maybe presentations. I haven't checked yet. So they have the recordings like the presentation video recording, and they just have presentation. So I suppose Karina downloaded the videos. So that's why you can watch them, all of them you can find, yes, on Get Course, and watch and make your own conclusion. Maybe you will find some more useful advice, some more useful games and tips. As for CLIL, you will find actually there is the material there, like you can use this, you can use that, just exercises which we did actually at the conference. So you can find everything there. So then thank you very much for your participation. So
but it is recording in progress. I don't